Hey folks, welcome to the 13th episode of the DevConnect show. Our guest today is coming from Los Angeles, California. He has been awarded 14 times as a Microsoft MVP in business application. He is a very professional coder and he is here to talk about his tool called ABDialog version 2. So please welcome Andrew Butenko. Hey Andrew, welcome to the DevConnect show.
Hello, Danish. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it's pleasure because we have been talking about this AB dialogue that you have created many years ago, and I always wanted to bring you on my show, but sorry for the delay.
In Ukraine, we're saying it is better something to it's better to be late than not to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Uh, yeah. So before we get started and talk about your tool, I just wanted to know what do you do in your free time?
That is a quite a tricky question because, to be honest, for last year I didn't have a lot of free time. But when I have free time, obviously I'm trying to take some rest, to travel to see the beautiful California where I moved like a half of year ago. Uh, when it's free time in the evening and I don't have like a long time range in front of me, I'm usually doing some barbecue on the roof I'm building. And the cool thing in this apartment complex, we have a lot of Ukrainians, so we were spending time together.
Oh, thank you very much. And I would also like to know how did you actually get started with CRM? What was your journey like?
That is a long story, actually. So, the story how I firstly was introduced to CRM world, but not specifically to Microsoft Dynamics world, started back in 2005 when I joined my first company. And I joined as a technical specialist slash developer for the internal for like to support and extend the existing CRM system. It was not Microsoft Dynamics CRM because it was 2005. It was like our local Ukrainian uh, CRM called Terasoft CRM. So during my time in the university, I was like Borland Delphi and Object Pascal was my main tools to develop program. That that CRM was the it was possible to extend it using Borland Delphi and the libraries. Oh my god, it was a while ago. Uh, After that, I switched gears and I turned to C Sharp slash T SQL developer. So I like kind of stretched my muscles around C Sharp and T SQL. So that and in a few years, when I started to look for a new challenge, my old colleagues suggested to join the consulting company. And that was the first experience working with the Dynamics CRM, and the version 4.0 was just released.
Nice.
Good
It's
times.
yeah, long time, right? Very long time. Yeah, cool.
It was 15 years ago. It's really hard to imagine that I'm so old now.
Um, okay, so let's talk about your tool, which is this AB Dialog version 2. What made you come up with this tool?
So the general idea was that a few years back when I was working on a few migration projects, and customer heavily relied on the dialogues that were introduced as a part of system back in 2011 when version 2011 was just released. And with the recent changes, dialogues got deprecated, so customers started to look for the alternatives. Relatively fast, I was able to come up with a few solutions to replace, but it was, it was kind of hard-coded type of dialogue, so it was not extendable, it was not possible to configure. So all the logic and behavior was tied completely from itself. So I decided, okay, but there got to be a better way, and I started to work on the version 1 of the prototype of ABDialog, and it was kind of cool. It worked, but it obviously was quite limited because it didn't provide any kind of visual configuration. It didn't provide any kind of additional backend handling. It didn't provide a lot of things, and few input types were not enabled at all. In version 2, I improved what I had in that tool, so now it's much smarter. And now there is the version 1. It was required to have the developer to do the stuff, to do like not only the configuration but processing and so on and so on. In version 2, it became more citizen developer friendly, if you will, and there is no need to write a single line of code to make something work over there.
That's super cool. Yeah. So let's see how this tool works. So if you don't mind sharing a screen and then walking us through the tool itself.
Absolutely. So let me share my screen and let me know if you see it.
Yep.
Okay, so the whole solution that should be installed on the instance is located on my GitHub. It can be downloaded. It will not ask for your for your credit card information or anything else. It's absolutely free of charge. After the installation of the managed solution, you will get, or user will get, this ABDialogs app, and it's pretty much the starting point for the configuration. So in order to start the configuration, what user will have to do is just click New, and that's pretty much it. All the rest is in this UI. So user will be able, okay, let's come up with some idea of the dialogue.
How about confirmation dialog for submission dialog?
Submission dialogue, submission of what?
Submission of review.
Submission of review. Okay, let's a bit about context. What kind of review do you want to submit? About the product? About what?
Yeah, about the product. So a dialogue which can capture the how much stars they want to give, and then the comment associated to it.
Okay, then if you don't mind, let's do it in regards to the account, because we don't have the product. We don't have the product in the object in the object model. Let's do it. Okay, but the the tricky part here that I do not have the possibility to show PCF controls in my dialog. It's only my controls. So we can do like
option set.
What we can do option set. I will actually show you. That is quite a cool thing that we might do over there. Okay, do a review. Oh, a review to account. Processing type. Here is one more thing. It is possible either call JavaScript, but in this case, that would be required to talk to developer. So it's like this dialog thing. It's possible not only to call it like using the out-of-box tools that provided. It's possible to call it on the based on the event from JavaScript, from ribbon button. So pretty much anything that is needed, but it can be implemented. In our case, we will pretend that we are not pro developers, who we are actually. We will pretend that we're citizen developers.
Yeah.
So let's go to Power Automate. Backend processor is, let's put it aside for a moment, and let's just put some kind of placeholder. I will explain why later.
Okay.
Localhost. Let's do this entity-bound dialog. And this enables one more control. And in this particular case, we will say, so this is the dialog that is tied to an account. And then I will say, yes, I want to show it in dialog selector. Because without this setting, the dialog will not appear in the tooling that I created specifically for all the entities.
Okay.
Okay, and let's start passing some parameters inside. So in order to, by default, we already have like one tab. So in this dialog, it's possible to create multiple sequential tabs.
Oh.
So it's possible to aggregate some information and bypass step by step populating the information. In our case, it will be quite simplistic dialog, so we will have only one. And I have even better idea. You know what? Let's pretend the following. If someone will set 1 star, leave someone's, let's conditionally require to populate why do they think that this place is really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, dokie. And this cool thing, it's absolutely doable using this tooling.
Nice.
Let's add a new dialog field and call it rating, right?
Yeah.
And let's call it so logical name and display name. Logical name will be something that is used from the object model, and when there will be dependencies between fields. Display name basically just a label.
So it is the same
Technically,
thing that we do normally when we create fields in Dynamics. Logical names will not have spaces in them. Display names can have spaces in them. That's what it means, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Technically, this is like the schema name and the label that we have.
Yeah.
One thing that I do not have when you are switching between languages inside Dataverse, if you have multi-languages, it follows the label for a particular language. At the moment, this is like a single language thing.
Okay.
So if you did it in German, it will stay in German.
Okay.
Okay, let's then switch choice. And for choice, we have three options. We can either use global option set or local option set, or completely design our own option set.
That's cool.
And let's say this will be let's do the best. And let's do like 5.
Yeah.
Let's say
Average.
Let's say meh.
Ah.
And let's do 3.
Yeah.
And terrible.
Yeah.
And let's do 1.
Yep.
We have no need to populate it from the context, but what I would want to do is to say that this field will be required. And the cool thing in these formulas, it's possible to play with the visibility and enabling and requirement level depending on the values from other fields. So it's possible to build dependencies. Okay. It's a little scriptish, not super visual, but it's doable. One thing that you might notice is this one. So in order to help the citizen developer, once the field is added or modified or changed or deleted, this field will contain, the field underneath will contain the contract that will be used in Power Automate on the backend. Because the way how the whole interaction between Dataverse, and between Power Automate, specifically in dialog context, is built is HTTP triggered dialogues.
Right.
So in order to accept something, we have to have the contract, and this field helps with it. Let's do other thing, because we have the dialog that is like entity aware. So the review will be written in regards to a particular account. We have to pass the reference to the account. So let's add one more field, and let's say it will be account ID. It will be account, and it will be lookup. For the lookup entity type, we obviously will select an account. And in order to pre-populate it, we obviously need, we can say it knows for the contextual entity, it knows the metadata, so it suggests either, and for specifically for lookups, it's possible to, it knows which fields contain which data. So we have this way to pre-populate, but I will say just populate from the context entity. So basically, it will take the ID of the entity it was executed from. We technically we don't need the information. We won't have the need to change the account. So specifically for visible formula, we can say we do not have a need to show that particular field. And let's save it, and maybe even move it upstream. So drag and drop works here as well.
Nice.
And it's possible to reorder.
Yeah.
Then let's add one more field, and let's say it will be comment. And it will be text field. Let's do it at single, and let's see advanced settings. So in this case, I will say that we will tweak the required formula type, and when it will be awful, it will require to provide an input. So let's switch, let's jump here. And for any person who knows JavaScript, it will be relatively easy, because it's all that you have to do is to provide, let's say, required formula, then name in who knows this mustache, how it is called,
the curly braces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Curly braces, but it's called mustache definition or something like that when you're providing some kind of tag in double curly brackets. And then equal and the value, and that's it. So it's pretty much works with the eval on behind in the code, and it looks for those patterns. It looks for the matching in the fields of the dialog. It converts it, validates it, and when it matches, it swaps the visibility, requirement level, and disable the field. So yeah.
Right. And then this value is actually the value what we provided on the ratings field, which was 5, 3, and 1. So we are saying, okay, if it is 1, then make this comment as required.
Exactly. Let's save it, and let's save the dialog. Now we might try to see it in flight. This thing still doesn't work, so let's not try running it. Complete. Let's go to accounts. Let's open my demo account. And let's click this button, Start Dialog. So this is the button that inside, like if we're talking about the like architectural approach, there will be no need for developer to go and add the button on every single record because it's added globally on the in the application ribbon. And the visibility of this button is ruled by a JavaScript rules that validates if we have any dialogues that are enabled for this entity and that have this show in the dialog selector checkbox turned on.
Okay.
Uh,
So that showing dialog checkbox that you have on the configuration,
yep.
that's basically showing if you want to publish the dialog or if you want to just put it in draft. Correct? I mean, in
Not
other
exact,
sense.
not exactly. In a sense, but not exactly. Because let's say you do not want to have this some kind of on-demand dialogue, but you still want to rely on this dialogue, and let's say call it by a predefined button, or let's call it on the save of record before save happened to provide some additional information, and use it in this way. In this way, it will not be possible to select it from the dialog selector like you see, but it will be possible to call it on demand from JavaScript.
Okay. So like for example, opportunity closing is one of the best example, right? We need to capture more additional details on the opportunity form. And initially, previously we were not able to edit it. So in that case, we could have used this dialog to come up with the form, capture additional data on the opportunity close button as well, right?
Exactly. And then save or do something else, create. So basically process information in the way you
Yeah.
need. Okay, let's select this new dialog, do a review to account, and let's hit OK. And we see the rating and comment. Now, our options are exactly the options that we configured just a few minutes back.
Yeah.
Let's choose terrible, and you might see that comment became required. When we're flipping back, this requirement level disappears. And one more thing, notice the button. Now we can save. Terrible. Oops. So
Okay.
until it's kinda React magic. After I jumped into the world of React and Fluent UI, I kind of fall in love because before
Yeah.
that moment, I hated to build UI because my UI was every single time the different and every single time ugly. With React and with the Fluent UI, I don't know. Now I'm enjoying building like UI applications because it became so easy. Okay,
Yep.
let's make a step back and let's talk a bit about the processing. So, about this thing. In order to organize the processing, what is required is to create an HTTP initiated flow. So, let's do it. I'm in my ABDialog instance. I created ABDialog's demo solution. Let's create new automation, Cloudflow automated. This part never worked fine for me, so I usually click skip. And I'm looking for HTTP here. I'm looking for this trigger when HTTP request is received. I'm selecting it. Uh, this is the thing that when it was initially built, there was no such feature who can trigger the flow. At the moment, it was basically this anyone. So if you will work on this and you will select either any user or specific user, unfortunately your Power Automate flow or your dialog will blow up because it didn't know anything about this thing because this thing never existed. So
Right.
you will have to, at least at the moment, choose anyone and provide another one thing that we talked a bit about already, request body JSON schema. So there are two ways. You can either pre-generate the object or you can just copy and paste the request body. Let's uh yep, let's add the new step and let's do, I do not know, uh let's do a check first.
Just maybe just send an
let's
email.
let's 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 do a check actually,
Yeah,
because we have this like idea rating. So if everything is okay, maybe it's possible to just like create a task, and if it's terrible, like maybe send the escalation email or something that
yeah,
your services
yeah.
is terrible. But technically, yeah, let's just do something simple. Let's just create a task on top of I just don't know how to convert the rating actually, because we have one rating we can convert, but we will spend a lot of time writing the conditions. Let's do just something simple. uh let's add a new row, and let's say it will be task, and let's say new review is provided. Let's do regarding accounts. Oh, and let's provide the information from here. And let's do a description. Into description, let's just provide the command that was added. Let's save. Let's now open this, copy this URL. Let's jump back to Dialog configuration, and let's paste it here. Let's save, and now we can try that out. So let's start Dialog. Let's choose do a review account. Let's save. Let's provide some rating for terrible. This is a message from demo. Let's change the focus. Let's save it. Dialog is getting started. And now if I refresh the timeline, I will see this new review is provided that was created by the Power Automate flow initiated by the Dialog.
Nice. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, this would probably solve so many use cases where we need dialogues, and because it's all low code, no code, this is really great. I mean, I'm really impressed, to be honest.
It is still there are still few challenges, and I know that there is still a huge field of enhancement. I have a backlog. I have a backlog of things that I still plan to work on when I will have free time. That may happen technically never. I don't know. This project I created after building some project for a customer, and like gathering the ideas about it, and uh, that time I had the free time to work on it. Now I do not have the luxury of having the free time, but if there is time, there is a backlog in my GitHub repository related to this product, and I'm trying to work on the items that I listed there, or I got as a review from my friends who did the review of the product.
Yeah. And then can you quickly also show our viewers how to download this from your GitHub repo? I'll provide a link in the video's description if anyone wants to directly go to that link, but just so that they can actually see
Yeah,
what you did.
absolutely. Absolutely. So in order to download it, you're going to github.com, Andrew Butenko, and ABDialogs v2. Don't go to ABDialogs. It's an old product. I believe I will put the deprecation mark over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Go to ABDialogs v2 and then go to releases, and then do not download source code. Don't download source code, and know this source code. Download the managed solution, and once the solution is downloaded, just install it into your environment. That's pretty much it.
Okay. And then again, if they have any bugs or if they have any enhancement requests, they go to this particular repo, go
In
to
this
issues, and
particular
then
issues, and as you may see, there are a few still workloads, nine to go. But as you may see, I didn't touch the project almost for a year, and that's because I was quite busy.
right, yeah. Yeah, this is excellent. So thanks, Andrew, for showing us and walking us through this awesome tool that you have created. I'm really looking forward for finding a use case where I can actually use this dialogue. So thanks again. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you for inviting me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.